He says, I'm not getting any help from any quarter. And I checked up, Sir Jatinderbir Singh, fortunately, was the Secretary Education in the Assam government. I rang him up and quick came the response, yes, we will help Himadri Banerjee because he is our ambassador. He is spreading our message of the Gurus everywhere, and he was very happy. He was able to do good work. Now he's doing some work on Rajasthan. Again, we got a senior police officer, Rupinder Singh. He says he'll be very happy to. Most people haven't seen personally Himadri Banerjee, but have read his works. Now, I welcome the chair and take his permission to start this function.
Yes.
Dr. Madhuri Chawla, she teaches English, but in our company, she's become a Punjab historian. On a short notice, she accepts our request to read the big book and finally moderate this session. So I think I can request Dr. Madhuri Chawla to introduce the panelists, the book, and the author. And welcome all. I think I welcome Dr. Ved Singh. I also welcome audience who has joined us online. Over to Madhuri.
Thank you so much, sir. A very good afternoon and a very happy, healthy, and a fulfilling 2024 to all the panelists and the audience who have connected with us today. First and foremost, sir, I'm extremely thankful to the National Institute of Punjab Studies, Bhai Veer Singh Sahitya Sadan, for providing me this platform and an opportunity to read all the books that you allow me to moderate as well. And this one in particular, because it is on a topic which is very close to my heart, the Punjabi diaspora. As a student of diasporic studies, I have worked on diaspora, particularly the Punjabi diaspora in UK, in the US, and in Canada. But this book which we have for discussion today, it revolves around the internal Sikh diaspora. And this book titled Beyond Punjab, Sikhs in East and Northeast India, which has been published by Routledge, and I think it is available as an ebook as well. It traces the meagerly explored terrain of the Sikh migration to the eastern and the northeastern states of India. The author of this book, Professor Himadri Banerjee, is also with us today and will surely be enlightened by his knowledge on the subject. Former chairperson of the Guru Nanak Chair in Indian History at the Jadavpur University's Department of History, Professor Banerjee has been working on Sikhs and Sikhism in Eastern India for nearly 4 decades now. And as we learn, he's working on the Sikhs in Rajasthan now. We wholeheartedly welcome you, sir. To preside over the proceedings today, we are privileged to have with us Sardar Jatinderbir Singh ji, a former officer of the Indian Administrative Service, who has also been the chairperson of Punjab and Sindh Bank. Welcome, sir. It's an honor to have you amidst us. Our panelists for the day are Sardar Swarn Singh Kahlon ji. He's an entrepreneur, a writer, and a Globe-Trotter. And we have Sardar Amandeep Singh ji. He's an eminent writer. Amandeep Sandhu ji. He's an eminent writer and a journalist. And I take this opportunity to extend a very warm welcome to both our panelists on this freezing Friday afternoon. Professor Ravel Singh, former professor and head of the Department of Punjabi, University of Delhi, and convener Punjabi Advisory Board, Sahitya Academy, has also joined us. A very warm welcome, sir. The book for discussion today, as I said earlier, Beyond Punjab, Sikhs in East and Northeast India. It endeavors to understand the Indian Sikhs through the lens of the dispersal from the pre-partition Punjab to the plains of states like plains and hills of the states like Bihar, Odisha, West Bengal, Assam, Meghalaya, and Manipur. Besides exploring the movement and the relocation of the immigrant Sikhs to distant states, the book also elucidates how, having moved outside their what you call a cultural core, they had to initially struggle and battle with the tag of being outsiders, to suffer ethnic discrimination, which every diaspora has to face, and social segregation as well, and also face the pulls and pressure of assimilation and acculturation in their land of adoption. The book also counters the narrative of a monolithic, a homogeneous Sikh identity. It unveils and brings to the fore the enormous plurality, the diversity among the adherents of the Sikh faith outside Punjab, or outside Punjab as it was earlier, the complete pre-colonial Punjab, or the pre-partition Punjab, as we would call it, in states and areas in which these people had gone and made their homes. The author delves into several sources, including oral sources and traditions, to understand how these Sikhs endeavored to link their past with the history of the Sikhs in Punjab. And the book draws attention to the voices of migrants, generally a voice which is missed out in the Punjab centric studies. Professor Banerjee's book is organized in six chapters, namely Bihar, Odisha, Kolkata, Assam, Shillong, and Manipur. And it highlights regional differences within the Sikh community, the dissimilarities in the relationship of immigrant population with their host society, and the levels of cooperation and competition within the community as well. And as for every diaspora, we also find that for these Sikhs as well, religion was an important marker of identity, and creating their holy, their sacred place is very integral and central to the Sikh faith. So the immigrants set up gurudwaras in their land of adoption to observe their religious practices, in order to perpetuate their tradition, and also to hold the community celebrations. And the book brings out how, while they celebrate Gurpurab, they also celebrated and continue to celebrate local festivals. For instance, it explores the association of the Sikhs to the regional Bhakti tradition of Lord Jagannath in Odisha. And it also talks about the social composition of immigrants, and the pattern of their settlement. It establishes that Sikhism, like all other major religions, exhibits also a variety of localized adaptations and responses, which is, I would quote unquote, not known to its cultural core. The book actually is invaluable for any scholar who wishes to explore the varied hues of Sikhs settled in different parts of India. Well, I would not like to keep the audience waiting any further, because I'm sure they are eager to listen to the esteemed panelists whose informed and profound presentations would definitely do justice to the book. And I think on request, I would call Amandeep ji. So would he go as the first speaker, I think?
Oh, okay. स्वर्ण जी, thank you very much. मेरे थोड़ा crisis चल रहा है, तो thank you for giving me the slot. You are senior relation speaker.
So our speaker, sir, may I just give a brief introduction before we begin? So, esteemed panelist, Sardar Amandeep Sandhu ji is a Punjabi writer and journalist who uses the English language as his tool. He initially started work as a journalist, and later as a technical writer. And his writings have been published in the Caravan and the Hindustan Times. His first two books were autobiographical fiction, Sepia Leaves, which was published in 2008, and Roll of Honor in 2012. His second novel, Roll of Honor, was nominated for Hindu Literary Prize for Best Fiction in 2013. Punjab Journeys Through the Fault Lines, which was published in 2019, is his first non-fiction book. His books have been longlisted and shortlisted for various awards, and such is his popularity that his works have been translated into Punjabi language and have a wide readership. In 2021, he was awarded the Homi Bhabha Fellowship for 22-24, and he's currently working on a book on Sikhs outside Punjab, but within India. And on behalf of the Sadan, I once again welcome you, sir, and request you to enlighten us with your impressions of this book. We're all eager to hear you as long as you wish to enlighten us, but we have this, I have this very unpleasant duty of informing that because of paucity of time, we would have to restrict to a 15 to 20 minutes time frame. The mic is all yours now, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Swarnji, for allowing me to speak first. You should be speaking. You are senior to me. But let me start by saying that I'm very envious of Himadri sir, of Brinder Pal ji, because they have sort of mapped the terrain in which I have started working now, and for months, actually years, I think I was telling Himadri sir, please publish your second book. Please publish your second book. I will have to cite from it. And he was very kind to me. He shared a draft with me. The book is an academic. It is rather expensive, and I was floored when I read it. And for two reasons. See, we must confess, we are in a Punjabi conference here. And we must confess that there is a huge sense of insider and outsider in our discourses, And Himadri sir is someone who has bridged that outsiderness through sheer work around India. Whether it was his first book, The Other Sikhs, or it is this one, Beyond Punjab. The amount of tenacity, yes, as sir mentioned, resources would have helped him. But at the same time, he mentions in the book how difficult it was for him to get to local Sikhs, to get to listen to their stories. I adopted a completely different way of doing it. So I actually did not have those hassles, but I can very easily imagine how much they would have seen, oh, he's a non-Sikh. In fact, ma'am, when you called me Sardar, I get a little conscious because I don't have a pug on my head, So Himadri sir is double disadvantaged. And yet it is his passion, it has been his love. And he has labored so hard on this book, that finally when it came out, and here I make a confession to him, I felt guilty that I haven't written a review of the book. I still owe him a review where I will write it. But I'm glad that and thankful that he called me here to at least talk about the book. So that is one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is, which he does not state explicitly in the book, but I have worked on Punjab. I'm also an outsider. I was born in Odisha. I'm not a Punjabi Sikh in that sense. And when I encountered Punjab, which I wrote about in the previous book, I could see how a Jat narrative dominates the discourse of Punjab. Madhuri sir doesn't say it. He's very polite. He's very gentle, But how caste plays among Sikhs in the country, that is something he has really brought out, and I'm very thankful that he did that. So in his very genteel Bengali Bhadralok way, he did not like punch anybody, he did not say anything wrong, but he brings it up. And it is a fact that, in fact, today morning I was listening to, I love this slightly younger Sikh Pracharak by Sevak Singh. And he was saying, that what happened during partition? Just news came that now you have to move from here to there, and people started moving. He said for 3,000 years, we Punjabis have stood where we were. We fought everybody who came here. And now suddenly with partition, we just moved. I mean, how ironic is that? And what do we trace it down to? So when these Sikhs came from the Pakistan side, the Jats got land in Punjab, or they got it in Terai, or they got it elsewhere in the country. They later made land in Madhya Pradesh. They're making it in Karnataka. They've gone down to Tamil Nadu, But what would I don't like the term, but what would the trader class Sikhs do? Where would they go? How many of them could have stayed in Punjab? So they moved on along the routes that India had at that time, rail routes or bus routes. And wherever they could settle, like in Vizag, they settled in Andhra Pradesh, or they settled in Madras, or they settled Calcutta was already a dominant destination for Sikhs because of the world wars. And some of them, they jumped across India and they went off to like Shillong or like Imphal, They covered the entire geography of the country and they reached there. So this aspect that looking at Sikhs living in the larger India is also looking at caste is, in my opinion, a big takeaway for me from this book. I wasn't aware of it. And now to the horror of it. Like, for example, Assam. Like in Assam, Sikhs went first in 1822, I think, if I'm not wrong. The Ahom king asked Maharaja Ranjit Singh for a force. They fought a battle with the Burmese. They lost, but they still chose to stay there. This is also incredible, like they chose to stay there. And then with the British, they started going to lay railroads, to work in tea estates. I mean, I have been to the tea estates of Assam in my research, and every tea estate says we always had one or two Sardarjis because they are the guys who would fix the machines. But now there are these two Sikhs. One is 1822, and then there's 1850s onwards. They start going. And the newer Sikhs that are going, they are saying those ones are not the real Sikhs. Because those Sikhs adapted to Assamese culture. They got married to Assamese ladies, so they even till today, they have sort of left Punjabi. In fact, Zal Singh had sent somebody there to teach them Punjabi again. But they keep this root of the Sikhi completely intact. So and then the Ramgadiya Sikhs go there. And then a caste battle happens in which what Jats do in Punjab, the Ramgadiyas are doing in Assam. It is so ironic. Similarly, look at Manipur. Now we look at Meghalaya. We know the Punjabi lane story. We all are aware of it. Like in 1853, I think the British took Dalit Sikhs from Amritsar and Gurdaspur to that place. And they were basically given the task of keeping the city clean because they wanted the Shillong to be the Scotland of India, And they were given a place, and I'll come to it in a minute, were given a place in the center of the city, which now has become very contested. But around 1940s, the Sonar Sikhs from Obatabad, they reach Shillong. And I asked them, in fact, we lost a beautiful artist recently, 3-4 months back, so I interviewed him the last, and I said, why did your grandfather come to Shillong from Abbottabad? He said, the height of the city. One was 6,000 feet, one was 7,000 feet. The climate was similar. That was such a big reason why they reached there. And they go there, and then the Sonar Sikhs also work hard, like the earlier Musbi Sikhs had worked hard. But the Sonars grow disproportionately rich. And the Musbi Sikhs are not very educated, and generation after generation, they're taking up sweeper jobs, kiosks, thelas in the Shillong area. And when this Punjabi lane erupted, and it didn't erupt now in 2000s, it has been erupting for a while now. The sonars didn't help the Muslims. This is a reality of these Sikh people. We must admit it. Similar stories, I mean, from Odisha, from Bihar. So, how Sir's work has informed my work is that, of course, I'm looking at Sikhs, I'm looking at belongingness, I'm looking at whether the question of Khalistan has any currency among these Sikhs. When we have 50 lakh Sikhs, we are roughly, I mean, the diaspora outside Punjab is 2/3 the number of these Sikhs. We are more than the diaspora. We are 17% of the Sikh community. And yet, we have had works until now, like Banerjee's work, like Himadri Sir's work, like a lady recently from Bombay, she wrote a book. There is still no narrative about all the Sikhs together, and that's the kind of thing I try to do. My work won't be as academically deep and cited as Sir's is, but my books go a little further because of other reasons, style or whatever. But we need to have a book. And so I'm looking at what should be the basis of it. So the question I am asking, and it is through Sir's work, is that everybody claims rights in a land through being born there, their fathers lived there, their grandfathers lived there. Look at the CAA law, look at what happened in Assam, But is there any value for labor? Does labor count? Because we actually built, I mean, the Sikhs have, I have no hesitation in saying it, the Sikhs have built the nation and the Sikhs have built the empire earlier. All they did is labor. Whether it was physical labor or intellectual labor or administrative labor, managing labor. This is what the Sikhs have done. The borders of India, whether it is or Ladakh or Punch Rajouri, or it is Imphal, or it is Campbell Bay in Andamans, or it is Gujarat, all these borders are secured by Sikhs, created by Sikhs. Their country is defined by what the Sikh armies have gone and done, and Sikh farmers have gone and done. And they have stitched the country together. One of the biggest businesses, the work the Sikhs did through the last 5-6 decades in independent India was transportation. They're carrying 80% of the freight from one place to another. It's only in the last 20 years that others have got into it, big companies have got into it. Earlier, it was this trucker with 2 or 3 trucks. So the Malwa guys went to East India. The Maja guys went to West India. And they were doing the trucking everywhere. They were the ones, they interpret, they would go into forests, they would go into Kacha roads, they would go into where nobody goes. And the secondary business to this was auto parts. And the Sikhs were so big in auto parts until 2 decades back. So we are not only soldiers and farmers, we are also the boundary makers and the stitchers of the country, the transporters of the country. And that is a recognition which I think Sikhs should be getting. And it's Sir's work which opens the way for me to start thinking, yes, the logic here. And in my travel at least, and I've been until now to 21 states and union territories, I have not heard, when I ask people, and I've met communities which are small, tiny, minuscule, or they are large, like in Delhi or in Jaipur or to some extent in Lucknow and Kanpur as well. And I asked them about this question of Khalistan. And I'll end here because my time went there. So one gentleman from Rajasthan answered me this. I'll say it in Punjabi and then try to translate it into English. He said, Punjab na sada peka hai. Je peka tagda rahੂਗਾ, je peka खुश रहूਗਾ, ਤਾਂ ਕੁੜੀ ਸਹੁਰੇ ਘਰ ਵੀ ਰਾਜ ਕਰਦੀ।
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਬਹੁਤ
ਪੇਕਾ ਕਮਜ਼ੋਰ ਪੈ ਗਿਆ, ਜੇ ਪੇਕੇ ਚ ਰੌਲਾ ਪਿਆ ਰਿਹਾ, ਤਾਂ ਕੁੜੀ ਫਿਰ ਸਹੁਰੇ ਘਰ ਚ ਨਾ ਦੱਸਦੀ ਫਿਰਦੀ ਆ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਜੀ ਉਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ, ਉਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਲੜਾਈ ਹੈ, ਸਾਡੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ. You got it? It's fine. Otherwise, for somebody who doesn't understand, I'll say, I mean, Punjab is our parents' place. And like a girl whose parents' place, if it is happy and it is progressing, then she does well at her in-laws' place. But if that parents' place is not doing well, if there is something or the other going there all the time, then the girl is hard put to explain what is going on everywhere. And she can't do Raj, so to say.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Let's end it there and then let's get on to. I'll come back if this cafe permits. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you so much, sir. Very nicely put. And the metaphor is just perfect. Pekka hai, waqai. And if the Pekka is happy, the girl will be happy in her in-laws' house as well. I can so very well relate to that. And therefore, I think the Punjabis everywhere must get their identity, as you said. They must get credit for not merely being farmers and being at the border, but also as transporters who have stitched the country together. Beautiful, sir. Really thought-provoking exposition and very well articulated. And I hope that we will get to read your work soon as well. Thank you so much again. And we move on to our next speaker for the day. Our next speaker is a writer and a Globe-Trotter, Sardar Swarn Singh Kahlon. Swarnji is an engineer by profession. He studied for his engineering in Bihar and then the United States of America. Post that, he worked in USA and then in Austria, Mumbai, and Kolkata. His career of 30 years with Imperial Chemical Industries Limited involved extensive overseas travel, and he has been globe-trotting since 1972 and has gained enormous first-hand knowledge and experience of 6 settlements in 73 countries. And if I remember correctly, sir, you have 24 passports. You're on to your 24th passport now, I think, if I remember correctly. And which he visited, these 73 countries he has visited in connection with his work as well as an explorer. And in fact, actually, we had earlier organized a discussion on his book, Sikhs in Continental Europe, from Norway to Greece and Russia to Portugal. And it was this book was the third in the trilogy of books on Sikh diaspora settled in non-English speaking and lesser known destinations of Sikh migration. So we eagerly await your address on the contribution of Professor Banerjee's book to your mission, as you had said, to develop a comprehensive map of the Sikh diaspora across the globe. And I think this one message I would like to give to the viewers, which I forgot to give earlier, that they can type their observations and questions, if any, in the comment section. We will highly appreciate that. And sir, sorry to repeat this again, but we have to stick to the time limit. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Incidentally, I have visited 80 countries now.
Good.
And 25th passport, sir?
Yeah, 24th, yeah.
24th.
Okay. My presentation will be in the following aspects. One is the Sikh population in these states and how do we define a Sikh. Then Sikhs on the move from the Guru's times till now. Then some personal experiences in the various states where I lived and worked. And then ultimately, I will talk about the caste system. So to begin with, first of all, I want to congratulate Professor Himadri Banerjee for a very scholarly work. Can you imagine? He has 442 notes and bibliography runs on 21 pages, more than 900.
Yeah.
It is a labor of love. Very difficult. And in fact, ordinary mortals like me reading the book get lost because it's too comprehensive. Now, this other question I have is that he has mentioned about Nanak Panthis, Udasis, Agarharis. I was not aware of that. But I do want to know from various aspects, who is the Sikh? How do we define a Sikh? It is very important to get onto that subject itself. And then what happens? Do these Nanakpanthis, Udasis, Agraharis in the census say that there is Sikh or what? Anyhow, coming back to the census of 2011, I have got some figures. Unfortunately, Jharkhand came into existence soon, but the maximum number of people are in Jharkhand, 71 million people, Bengal, 63 million people, Bihar, 24 million people, Orissa, 21 million people. And in other states, Manipur, Tripura, Mizoram are minuscule population. So first of all, do people declare themselves as Sikhs in these places? I would be very interested to know. I could access the 2001 census because that would have given an idea as to whether the population in these states has increased or decreased over a period of time. Now coming to the more important subject of Sikhs on the move, Eastern India. Of course, it started with Guru Nanak Dev Ji, 1506. Then Guru Tegh Bahadur, I was surprised that he traveled quite a lot in the eastern parts of India. And of course, it has been referred to just now by Amandeep that regarding this Ahom Raja, 1820s, when Maharaja Ranjit Singh sent the real migration outside Punjab, according to me, my study, is post Maharaja Ranjit Singh. After we lost the second Sikh war in Punjab, British decided to support Sikhs, particularly in the army. And at one stage, we were 20% of the British Indian Army, as against a population of only 1.5%, 2%. So with the British having come, first of all, they took the Sikhs to countries like Burma. Second Anglo-Burma War was in 1849. And Maharaja Ranjit Singh's second Sikh war was also 1848 to 1849, that period. Then Sikh regiment started in Ludhiana. First was called Firozpur Sikhs, another was called Ludhiana Sikhs in 1849. Then in the second Anglo-Burmese war, of course, as I mentioned, the Sikhs went there. China, the second Opium War in 1885, and policemen in Malaysia and other. And also within India, the Sikhs started moving away from Punjab for the first time, really in numbers, because of the British. Wherever the British forces went, they preferred to take Sikhs along. So a lot of contribution of British people for the move of Punjab, Sikhs and Punjabis from outside Punjab into other parts of India. The events that impacted, for example, people moved outside of Punjab, as has been mentioned, to metros, industrial areas, shipping ports, because Sikhs started to migrate, so they had to stay in ports, Bombay and Calcutta. Very interesting was the professions that they followed under the British, with the promotion of the British. Transport is mentioned, trading is mentioned, industrial workforce. For example, people went into Jamshedpur and other areas, wherever there was industry coming up. So this is a very important impact. Some things which impacted negatively or otherwise the Sikh migration to Eastern India was 1960s Burma, when Burmese government, Nevin, had this anti-India rules and people had to leave Burma, majority. There was a wave after wave of Sikhs who left Burma, and that's how they came to Manipur. Then Bangladesh war, as Mr. Banerjee himself has said, that it had a very negative impact on Sikhs. Taxi drivers and Sikhs were synonymous in Calcutta. I lived there 20 years. So I know that, how it was impacting the Sikh, and how as soon as the Bengali people came, Hindus came to emigrants to West Bengal, and how it impacted the Sikh industries, Sikh taxi drivers. They had slowly and slowly, they moved away from that because local populace wanted to take control of that. Then that was Bangladesh War of 1971. Then 1984 had another impact on people. So because it was negative in many of the cases, but we will talk about that in more detail in Bengal, what happened. I will now describe a little bit of my experience in living in various states and working in various states, because I used to sell dynamite for road construction. Because I have been to Manipur, I have been to Aijal, I have been to Shillong, I have been to Bhutan, Nepal, everywhere, because dynamite was needed for road construction, and we used to supply dynamite, and I was the general manager in that company. Biggest thing was that Punjabi, as Mr. Banerjee has pointed out, Punjabi press started in 1920 in Calcutta. Can you imagine? Punjabi press, amazing. And Khalsa school was started in early 1930s in Calcutta. Amazing. Then there's a very interesting person in Kharagpur constituency whose name is Gyan Singh Sohanpal. He was for 11 terms MLA from Kharagpur. And he was called Chachaji. And so these are some of the things which need to be highlighted as to how we contributed. I remember walking, our office used to be, IC office used to be on 34 Chorangi. I was walking in Russell Street and I found a union meeting taking place. A turban Sikh was saying, Inqilab, Zindabad, Cholbena, Cholbena. In other words, they had so much acceptance within the community that they could be the union leaders. Imagine that for a turban Sikh to be union leader at that time. Then, of course, in 1984, I remember I went to Jagasidhar Gurdwara after the riots, and Jyoti Basu sent a senior minister to the Gurdwara to assure the Sikhs that no harm will be done to you. And no harm was done. So these are some of the things where Sikhs in various states have. Now I will give you another example of how Jharkhand, but then Bihar. Indian School of Mines was started in 1926. And in the first batch itself in 1926 was a Sikh, 2 Sikhs in fact, in Punjabi. How come they knew about mining? How do they go about thinking about these things? You know, these are deep underground coal mines. And it's amazing how enterprising Sikhs can be. Similarly for Jamshedpur, similarly the Sikh Review, Mr. Sadan Singh, who was very active with the Sikh Review, no more, late Sadan Singh. He was the deputy commissioner in Dhanbad at that time. I remember, and how he used to recite Kirtan himself. Then very interesting how Punjabis go about moving from place to place. There's a very interesting book called Punjabi Century by Tandon, who was the first Indian chairman of Hindustan Lever. One of their distributors in Rawalpindi came to meet him in Bombay. And he was wearing very old clothes. He was very well off because the distributor of multinational companies used to be very well off, very rich. So he said, what happened? He said, sir, I have to leave Rawalpindi and I have no more to go. So he suggested to him that I have a dealership, an agency that I can give you in Bhubaneswar. He said, yes, sir, that's a wonderful place. And after, when he was going to leave, he asked him, Mr. Tandon, where is Bhubaneswar? This is a Sikh for me. Without knowing where this was, he said it's a wonderful place. Yeah. Similarly, I have been visiting Aijwal and all that areas and all that. One I would like to request is all of you, have you ever logged on to PTC Punjabi Apne Bande? My God, you have missed something. Please immediately log into PTC Punjabi Apne Bande. This covers 20 destinations in India of southern, western, and eastern states. And how this lady goes around and then meets the Sikhs. And it's just amazing. So please there are total 20 serials, but 5 out of that are on Eastern India, which Mr. Himadri Banerjee has covered. And you will be surprised once you listen to these Sikh families, how well they are integrated. They marry local women, but local women immediately start doing part and other things. And the children wear turban, full 5Ks are kept. And Sikhs are doing something which is unique in terms of running schools. There is a very interesting school in, I think it's in Guwahati, Guru Nanak National School. Can you imagine? In that area, they have set up a school and hardly any tuition is charged from people. Then they set up hospitals. In all these eastern states, they have set up hospitals, they have set up various other things. So this is to be admired as to how much they have got integrated. Yes, they have married a local women, but local women do the part. Even in this school, in this Guru Nanak National School, you will find children, all ages, non-Sikhs, reciting Japji, the first pauri. How they sing the Sabto Ucha Dar Babeda. They sing their shabds. So it is amazing what Sikhs have been able to do. There are very interesting things in various other things. I can highlight some of them if there is 5 minutes for me. For example, in Manipur, in fall, introduced Amandeep Singh and Amandeep Singh. They speak Maithai, but they have Sri Guru Granth Sahib at home. Children, as I mentioned to you, in this national school, they do it. Nagaon, of course, 200 years ago when the Sikhs went there, Gurdwara was set up in 1820, which was refurbished in 1982. Look at what they did. The only thing they said, ladies said, was that our husbands told us, follow your own religion, but also follow Sikhi. They are doing part. And but they say that they're very difficult to comb the hair of the Sikh children. They say that it's a lot of difficulty. And of course, they love lassi. Similarly, there are people who are doctors in these areas. I wish Madhuri had mentioned about these people. There were so many people who are well ahead. He represents India in the Lions Club, the Sikh charity. And so similarly, Siliguri and all these people, they're doing a wonderful job. My only final comment is that I do not agree with Mr. Himadri. He has overemphasized the caste system with the Sikhs. I think it is almost was a fad with him that after interviewing somebody, if he did not tell his caste, he will call him back and say, "You have not told me. Are you a Jat?" I don't know why. I don't think I have come across in my travels extensively in India. I have visited all nooks and corners that there was so much of emphasis on caste. I don't agree. And I think it has been overemphasized. It is again something like, for example, today, you say Houthis, you say Hezbollah, Iran supported. But nobody says what Ukraine and Israel best supported. So it is all made up in a fashion that I think has been overemphasized. So thank you very much, and I have nothing more to come.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your impressions of the book, as also particularly, I would say, your own sharing from your own personal experiences of having visited and living in different states across the country. And it's really interesting to know that there were 2 Sikhs in ISM in 1926. That's really amazing. And on the whole, I would say you really summed up well that the Sikhs are the Sikh character, as you have defined it, as very resilient, hardy, dynamic, enterprising. I think all those traits go with the Sikh character. They're very positive, they go getters, I would say, as it comes through your discourse also, philanthropist, so to say, also, and really brave hearts who have managed to go to so many countries, as you pointed out in your book, and to the interiors of India as well. Thank you so much for
One
making
comment.
this.
I think Mr. Himadri Banerjee's book should be retitled by saying Beyond Punjab, Sikh castes a dominant feature.
No.
That is for sir to consider for sure. And thank you, sir, for making this discussion so very interesting and rewarding. Your interest, your address was very captivating. We are fortunate also that our author, Professor Himadri Banerjee, is with us today. And he has been working on Sikhs and Sikhism in Eastern India for nearly 4 decades now, as I said earlier, and on Rajasthan now. And in recent years, Dr. Banerjee has been traveling in search of Sikh mosaics of Eastern and Northeastern India, including Moray along the Indo-Myanmar border, where Sikhs are settled, but even Sikh scholars hardly know about it. His book, The Other Sikhs, A View from Eastern India, is widely regarded as a path-breaking work on the Sikhs and their history and heritage in Assamese, Oriya, and Bengali traditions. He has also studied the information and records and published over a century which have been published over a century between the first Sikh war and the partition of India, and these are available in local languages. And he has shown how the regional flavor lends its own color to the traditions of the Sikhs. I would request Professor Banerjee now to share with.
I will just interrupt you for one more minute. There is a chap from Guwahati, Sikh chap, who has written books in Assamese about Sikhism. Really,
Okay.
you should really see PTC Punjabi Apne Bande.
So it is PTC, as in P for Punjab.
PTC, yeah, Punjab. PTC
Transport.
Punjabi. PTC Punjabi Apne Bande.
Right.
Amazing. Really. I don't know how people have not seen it. You'll be amazed.
Again, we are biased.
No.
Yeah.
You can find it on YouTube. I mean, I downloaded all the episodes just as I started.
You're so well informed. Good.
Yeah. So, but to add
Yes,
to Kahlon sir's question of who is a Sikh, this is there are two
No, I
things.
think we should not define it because there are very confusing definition. If you believe you are a Sikh, you are a Sikh. I mean, I've worked on this for my doctoral research.
Yeah.
There is definition given by the Shiromani Gurudwara Committee Act passed in 1925. This is a very liberal definition. Then the Delhi Gurudwara Amendment Committee passed a very rigid definition. And a very funny thing was, I felt bad as a Sikh. In the case of one girl who got admission to medical on the being a Sikh, and she was plucking her hair,
Yeah.
she was debarred. And then the Sikhs went to a non-Sikh judge in the court to define who a Sikh is. He says, who go to a non-Sikh to define who a Sikh is. But then there's a definition of Sikh from Guru Granth Sahib. Sikh is one who gets up early morning, after ablution, takes his bath in the holy water, and always remembers God. So there are so many Sikhs. I'm not one of them, though I'm entitled to vote. So defining Sikh is, I think we should not claim to be custodian of Sikhi. Madhuri for me, she is a Sikh. I don't know whether SCB accepts her or not, but I accept her as a Sikh. Anyway, sorry.
Can I add a line here, please? Two
Sure,
minutes.
sure.
Can I just say?
Sure.
So, in Indore, for example, I ended up meeting a lot of Sindhi people.
Yeah.
And Sindhis follow Guru Nanak.
Yeah, they do.
Met a communist Sindhi as well. Communist Sindhi told me, very angry. He said, "You Sikhs, you know what you did?" He said, "What did we do?" He said, "You added 9 more Nanaks after the first one, and you stole our Nanak away from us."
Yeah.
He was, of course, saying it like humorously, but You know,
I mean,
so
but that's
the formation of religion itself, there is a thing to see there. To me, a more inclusive, or like I meet Sikhligar Sikhs, or I met Lubana Sikhs, in the Dakhni Sikhs, you know, for example.
yeah.
And I think the term Nanak Nam Leva is a very inclusive term.
Yeah.
You know, so whenever, say, for example, Gyani Harpreet ji talks about Sadh Sangatanu, he always says Nanak Nam Leva. You know, like, so I like that about it. That Sikhi is actually an inclusive religion.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, for whatever political reasons and all that, I mean, we know what happened in the 1870s. We are one community which is hell-bent on cutting ourselves down and saying only these are pure and the others are impure.
No,
But-
well, you to define, no.
I mean, when
Have no right to define who you are. You have to define
the
yourself.
Tat Khalsa came up, when the Arya Samaj came
Oh,
up.
that
when
was.
But that strain goes on even now. See, the difference I see in looking at the Sikhi in Punjab and the Sikhi outside in the rest of India is what Kabir said. Kabir, it's not in the Gurbani, but he has a doha. Bada hua to kya hua jaisa ped khajur. In
पंछी को
Punjab,
छाया
what we
नहीं
tend to do, in Punjab, what we tend to do is कि झंडे दे थल्ले जड़ा आ गया वही Sikh. But I am thinking that a community is like a people tree, like a banyan tree.
Yeah.
It will spread. Its branches will get local flavors. All the Sikhs I'm seeing living in rest of India, Tamil Sikhs speak Tamil, Kannada Sikhs speak Kannada. We have idli, vada, dosa at home. You know, like northeastern Sikhs adapt to their cultures. Bombay Sikhs adapt to their local Marathi cultures. Everywhere, as Himadri sir also says, they celebrate the local festivals. They also celebrate, the Sikh festivals. So identities are fluid. Instead of my whole quest is to, and like others have done like before me, is to just talk about the diversity of Sikh religion instead of trying to narrow it down to a scale of only, Abat Surat hai ki nahi. That's
the Sindhis have contributed a hell of a lot to Sikhism in the sense that many of the countries, the first Guru Granth Sahib was taken by Sindhis.
right.
And they started doing part at their home where others used to meet. Then later on, then the Sikhs Gurdwaras came in. For example, in Philippines, the first Gurdwara was in Manila, was Sindhi Gurdwara. In Shamnivas, I stayed in Shamnivas in Warden Road in Bombay for 6 months. And they have a very interesting system. There is a Guru Mandir on the where I was living. They call it Guru Mandir. And they keep the window open so that the ladies, when they're going to work, they don't have to take off their shoes and get them matha teko. These have done tremendous work on Sikhism. And they were the first who took Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji in many countries. And later on, then the Gurdwaras were built.
To me, they are one of the finest ambassadors of Sikhism. And I think that respect should be given to that community.
You know, this earlier, there was Sikh Students Federation, and can you imagine, Bhai Banswar was the president of Sikh Students Federation.
Yep.
When he arranged the marriage of his son, he printed invitation cards that only those can come who do not drink. No, in America, there's a fashion is that you have a beer and then maybe your wife doesn't drink, you feel excessively driving. He says, no, my ceremony will, only those will enter who do not have any drink, and then who do not accept him as Sikh. Now, I've seen a book, a Sindhi doing part all alone, Babaji's beat. Somebody asked him, where is the Sangat? He says, I'm reciting part for my Guru, and he is watching me. He's happy. He says, I'm doing part there. In this area, in Pakistan areas, all Sikhs have gone. So I'm not bothered, but my Guru is there. He is watching me, he is listening to me. Look at, a very, very devout people. It's a difficult question to define. I'm a better Sikh and he's not a better Sikh. I think this will divide. But I'm, as a student of history, I tell you one positive thing. There's one thing very positive. all major religions, Christianity got separate in vertical way. Islam is vertical. Whatever other religions, Buddhism, Jainism, luckily, if you define this Sikhism, it will get divided. So let us accept them as they are, with their good and bad numbers. I've studied on the Kali movement. I was not supposed to speak, but who sacrifices? I've studied the data. The Sikhs from the villages, after finishing harvesting their crop, they come, and not majority of them they are Sabal Surat. They are not, but they come. They're forced to sacrifice. Non-Jats, they'll calculate their risk. Jat doesn't calculate the risk because he deals with God and the weather. So whether he is pathed or not pathed, I think they're very embarrassing and difficult questions. We should let them remain unsettled. The earlier Sikh leadership was very intelligent. The Rahat Maryada, the last draft, was approved by Veer Singh, who have the origin of this thing. Why they left who's a Sikh? Sikh is one who believes in Guru Granth Sahib, 10 Gurus, and no other faith. By this definition, Bebe Nanki can't be Sikh because she didn't believe in 10 Gurus. Bebe Nanki, Mardana, the best Sikh, he won't be Sikh because he believed only in one Guru. Anyway, I think I should control myself.
So identities, religion, all are fluid and
Madam Moderator,
changing their dynamic, and I think that is the right way as well, because that's how things.
There is a very interesting.
There is progression.
Documentary.
Civilization progresses in that manner.
There is a very interesting documentary by Harjant Gill called Roots of Love. This is about turban and Sikh. Just watch some Roots of Love by Harjant Gill. And it's very interesting about how turban comes.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I think we can now move on to Professor Banerjee's address. We would like him to share with us his experiences and emotional impact of this journey, the rigor and the effort that he has put into this task, which must have been a very daunting one. And actually, it's intriguing, sir, that I, for one, would definitely wish to know what led a non-Punjabi to the journey towards Punjab and the Punjabis, albeit those settled outside Punjab. So we eagerly wish to hear from you about this work and your experiences. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Chawla ji. Actually, I have written a long piece, typed one. But I better think that when there are Sikhs directly involved, it is better to remain silent because I know so little about these experiences which the scholars and the panelists have added. It is better to remain silent when the great Sikh, good Sikh, hardworking Sikh, enterprising Sikhs intervene and debate and dialogue. But humbly, I would be adding 1 or 2 points. I need to first thank Dr. Mahinder Singh, the heart of the Bhai Singh Sahitya Sadan, the 2 well-known panelists, the Globe-Trotter Sardar Saran Singh ji, and my dear young Amandeep Singh, who has taken the trouble of reading between the lines, and he has gone beyond. And finally, yes, madam, you have, Professor Chawla, you have read extensively and you have taken notes. That is evident from your presentation. And finally, the chairman, sir, scholar administrator, we have seen, heard, read about the tradition of ICS scholarship. But that is almost distinct. No, now it is a dry river. They are all concerned with bureaucracy. But here is a man who, like Saran Singh ji, he has taken the trouble of commenting and interfacing and helping the scholars of different dimensions. With these words, I shortly present a brief submission. Journeys with the Sikhs are my lifelong experience. Poems of Rabindranath and my family literary tradition stimulated me. My initial research made me aware of the hardworking Sikh peasants in Punjab, and I have seen them from a close angle at my younger age when I was not incapable of moving beyond my house. Actually, in the 1980s, when Punjab was in flames, the devastating Punjab tragedy, the destruction of Akal Takht, and when every Sikh was described as a cessationist in print media, and that brought me how a minority could be crucified in different manners. India is a plural country. Why should we think of not this small community who have saved our frontier, struggled in China and struggled in Burma, and they have created the diaspora? Actually, these are the big things in my life. I am a small darpok Bengali, machli bhi khata hai. Lekin, to talk about a warlike veteran Sikh of experiences, I should be talking less. But truth is bitter. That is, the one is that, yes, I would just not going to debate because it is better to sangat, have dialogue instead of debate, goshti. So one is that, did really Ranjit Singh send a Punjabi Sikh soldier in the 1920s? Could it be possible? Because Treaty of Amritsar prevented any movement of Sikh beyond the river Sakluj. So any eastward movement of Sikhs is altogether impossible. But Najmullah Janasruti, oral tradition is great, and we need to respect that. A community, when cornered outside, they need to have the great tradition of everything. Because if a Bengali is always looking forward to Rabindranath when he is in trouble, similarly, the Sikhs should look forward to the great gurus and to their fighting tradition in distant land. Secondly, my field experience say the otherwise. I would humbly submit, I may be wrong, but I have seen what Globe-Trotter Kahlon has seen outside India or inside India, because he has traveled more than anybody else. Because he has seen. But caste, can we ignore? I am not challenging, but I am humbly submitting. Can anyone ignore? Even a Bengali progressive, at the time of marriage, there is any advertisement. And in Sikh Review, you would be having advertisement of this kind. Well, I had faced two experiences, bitter experiences, that saved me about the field work. One, it was in Manipur. Today, Kuki and Meitei struggle is going on, bitter struggle. And I was regarded, why you should be talking of? Nobody received my telephone. But it was one Sikh, that is Satnam Singh, who was a Burmese Sikh, who did help me to manage to open up dialogue over the days. In Odisha, the most important Nanakpanthi Math was Mangu Math, where the Raja of Puri issued order that is called Chamuchitao, written in old Karani Oriya. It was with him, I knew, but he did not allow me. He simply asked me to leave his mutt. Finally, it was some administrative manipulation, and one senior retired Odia civil servant helped me in the way. He could procure the Chamuchit House royal order depicting how the Nanakpanthi was there and set up mutt to accommodate the pilgrims. And the passage right from Katak, Baleshwar, and then Bhubaneswar, then to Puri, it is this all everywhere. You would be getting local territorial Sikhs who are not talking in Punjabi. They talk in local languages, sometimes in Jagannath tradition, sometimes in Shankardev. It is Jaisa Desh Aisha Vesh. Yeah, hona chahiye. Otherwise, he would not be able to stay. But I have seen in Tamu how black marketing is going on side by side with the white surface trade. So such is the experience. It is better not to open the Pandora's box because it's a long story. To cut things short, I am grateful to you and talking all good words about my work. And with this, I may conclude.
Thank you so much, Professor Banerjee. We really appreciate that you made us privy to your valuable experiences and encounters in the making of this book. And it has really been an invigorating session. And who better than Shri Jatinderbir Singh ji to deliver the presidential comments? A distinguished member of the civil services, Sir has served as Secretary Education in the Government of Assam, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Defence, Government of India, among several other prestigious positions. Upon retirement as Chairman of Punjab and Sindh Bank, he was appointed Chairman of Punjab Infrastructure Regulatory Authority, PIRA as it is called. Sir has a long association with Bhai Veer Singh Sahitya Sadan, and he is presently Vice President of the Society. I request you, sir, to take over. The mic is all yours.
Thank you, Madam Madhuri Chawla ji. At the outset, I compliment National Institute of Punjab Studies under the auspices of Bhai Veer Singh Sahitya Sadan, arranging this platform for holding this book discussion on a very important monumental work on Sikhs outside Punjab. I sincerely thank Dr. Mahinder Singh ji for giving me this opportunity to be with you on this evening. I am extremely grateful to all the brilliant panelists and their critique of the book. Dr. Madhuri Chawla ji for her introductory remarks, which show the appreciation of this work in great detail. Various panelists have already elaborated on the strengths, the insights compiled in this book. In fact, when I was listening to all these views, I have noticed, and during my readings of the book, I have noticed that the competitive advantage of this book is its differential diagnosis. In fact, I use this term from The End of Poverty by Jeffrey Sachs. I read it long ago. So when I was listening to all these things, to all the insights of panelists, now this American professor, Jeffrey Sachs, he introduced the clinical economics. And when we look at the work of Dr. Himadri Banerjee on this monumental work, the distinguishing feature of this book is that Dr. Himadri Banerjee adopts a sociological approach to history. In fact, when he brings fresh insights and originality to the methodology of writing history. So therein lies the strength of this book. This is not a run-of-the-mill history book which just studies dispersion, internal dispersion of Sikhs outside Punjab in a kind of general fashion. That differential diagnosis and that emerges out of his personal communication with his subjects. Now, if we talk about Sikh diaspora in or dispersal in Northeast or East, it has many layers. It is not a kind of humongous entity that we study or write a chapter on Sikhs in Assam and look at his meticulous depth and range of research which he carries out even to write one chapter. I was amazed that he has traced the origins of Ramgarhia community from a small Chawla village in my home district. It's a tiny small village near Kadian. So in the early part of 20th century, major portion of part of this Ramgarhia community migration to Jorhat, Dibrugarh and rail works and tea gardens was from that Chawla. He gives a detailed treatment of that in the chapter, but that is the minutest detail which he brings out in his research. Now, he does not talk about Sikh diaspora in a kind of monolith. His strength lies in personal communications, and he talks about Assamese Sikh in Nagaon and this neighboring village, and then the second wave during the British Empire colonial period of Ramgarhias migrating to Upper Assam, and then this transporter Beltola and their concentrations. Similarly, when Safai Karmacharis during British time, they go to Shillong, and then that the Dalit aspect of that is also very intelligently and sensitively developed in that part. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, fine.
Yes, please.
So, and that is also very sensitively developed in that part. So now, how he is able to carry out this differential diagnosis? It is not a kind of humongous entity of Sikhs settling in one part, and therein comes this consciousness of social stratification, social hierarchy, because basically this Jat Sikh, then Ramgarhia, then Dalits, of course, in the context of Meghalaya and Assam. So these are the social structures, the struggles of various parts of community, that they are not a kind of single entity, but there are layers and layers of their struggles relating to social, economic, cultural, and their religious and spiritual spaces in those. So that is also a major contribution to the methodology of this history. And even the author notes in one of his chapters that the traditional approach to Sikh history has been largely book-based, and the primary sources, for example, the way he negotiates with the various leaders, various community leaders or other members of the community, Sikh community in various parts of Northeast, he faced a number of challenges to elicit their responses for a variety of reasons. So these are the strengths of his book. On one hand, this sociological perspective, the social stratification in diaspora in Northeast and East. And this is also I think I would also consider it a major contribution that this caste consciousness of Punjab remains intact in diaspora even outside Punjab. So that is also quite evident in these researches. And he has based that not on some kind of secondary or tertiary sources. It is from his personal interaction, and he has supported his assertions with uh, uh, conversations and also evidence collected from the politics, from the social metrics of those places. So I think this is a major work in in the study of history of Sikhs outside Punjab. It is also a fact that our major works relating to history have been Punjab-centric. And there are valid reasons because of the preeminent position of Sikhs in Punjab. But this has been brought by panelists that the cultural core, the spiritual core of Punjabis outside Punjab also is Punjab. And there is always a yearning to reconnect with their roots. That is something innate to human nature that even in our because that Punjab lives in each Punjabi, even if he's in Canada or the remotest parts of South America, as Kahlon Sahab has mentioned, and he has traveled in many parts of those remote countries from our homeland. That these are the strengths of book, that this freshness of differential diagnosis. He has dealt with this diaspora with great sensitivity, with great rigor of historical research, and with a sociological perspective, with empathy, and he does not romanticize the lives and struggles, the agonies, aspirations of Sikhs settled in various parts of Northeast and East, and their struggles also have been very sensitively dealt in this book. So I would thank Bhai Veer Singh Sadan, the panelists, the moderator, and the author of this book, Dr. Himadri Banerjee, from the core of my heart for this presentation and this book discussion. It has been a very vibrant conversation, stimulating discussion on a very significant work. And I think it is a major contribution in the various themes relating to Sikh history. So with these words, I once again thank all of you. And it has been a great learning for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Indeed, a very compelling and stimulating address from you as well, pointing out the strengths, especially the strength of the personal communication of Himadri ji, which has gone into the making of this book. I must say we have had, as you said, one of the most enriching and invigorating sessions today. And I would now like to request Professor Ravel Singh ji to propose a vote of thanks and also inform us about the upcoming events. Sir is here. Sir Ravel Singh.
We'll check up. Otherwise, I think Dr. Ravel Singh, he has left, I think. So I can do this sort of pleasant job of thanking you all.
Thank you so much, sir.
First, the author, because he gave us a chance to meet and discuss. I'm really very happy that he continues his work. Normally at that age, one gives up field work, but he's continuing his field work. So he is very dear friend and ambassador of our message of the Gurus. So wish him good luck, good health, and we'll continue to support him wherever it's possible. I thank Jatinderbir Singh, our Senior Vice President. As you mentioned, like civil servants, he is continuing the tradition of administration as well as reading and writing. We were thankful to him. Sir Singh Kahlon is an old friend. I met him many years back. Called me for lunch in a golf club, if I remember. And I was really surprised how he managed to visit all these countries. Real. Is it true? He says, yes, it is true. And now he's got his next passport. And after 80 countries, he's going to cross that number. But it's a very interesting account that I read of his books. Amandeep Sandhu, we find a ray of hope that future Sikh scholarship is sound. And I enjoyed reading his book. And after that, I was wondering how to discover Amandeep. And fortunately, through Jatinderbir, we located Amandeep is very much in India and available. I'm thankful to him. And also like to invite him for the upcoming seminar, Madhuri and Amandeep and other friends. And Mr. Kahlon, if he's back to Bombay, back to Chandigarh by then. And please stay connected. The other programs are in February, we were having 2 major functions. In March, as I told you earlier. Now, this year, there happens to be birth centenary of 3 eminent Punjabi writers, Prabjot Kaur, who all know, great poet, and husband, Colonel Narendra Singh, and also great repository of records that he built, Vanjara Bedi. So we're going to celebrate these events in collaboration with the Sahitya Academy, the National Academy of Letters. For all this, I need your help. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so